At our council meeting a couple weeks ago, I asked a question that I had heard at a synod meeting on our new Macedonia workshop. This is all about stewardship. And one of the questions they asked was, when have you been surprised by a gift of God's grace? And Wendy shared a really interesting story that's going to tie into our Bible stories today. And Wendy, would you just stand up and share what happened to you when you were driving through Chicago?
Okay, my husband Matt and I had gotten married. He was in the Navy, so he was stationed at Great Lakes, which is basically North Chicago. Well, I'm geographically challenged, if you know me anyway. But we drove out there. We had an apartment and everything. Our first time trying to drive home, we left at Friday night after 11 because he went to school from 3 to 11, Monday through Friday. So I told him, I said, if you get us around the Chicago Loop and get us out of the city, I can drive on 80 because I can't get lost because it's just 80 and I can't do anything wrong. So we were in the city and of course we got lost. Well, it's after midnight and we're trying to find somewhere or somebody to ask how to get out of the city. So we finally find a 7-Eleven. And I said, all they're going to do is sell you a map. They're not going to tell you anything. So I'm sitting in the truck. He goes in to get directions. I see this man walk past the truck. Long black trench coat, black boots, long hair, the earrings and everything. And my first impression, and I know it's wrong, was, oh my gosh, he's going to kill my husband. I'm sitting in the locked truck. I'm saying my prayer to God, please don't kill my husband. I'll be here. I won't know what to do. So he turned out to be the most nice person, gave my husband directions, got us out of the city. So it was one of those surprise things. There was our angel getting us out of the city when first I thought he was going to kill my husband.
God has a way of surprising us in ways that we don't expect. There are so many stories in the Bible of God sending messengers, angels in disguise. For Wendy, it was this guy in the trench coat and the long hair and the earrings who she thought was dangerous, but in fact turned out to have the message that they needed on how to continue on their journey. In our story today, Abraham and Sarah encounter 3 strangers who come to their tent and have good news for them as well. And in our story from the gospel, Zechariah is in the temple and also encounters an angel who surprises him and tells him the good news of the birth that's about to come to him and his wife Elizabeth. God has a way of surprising us in unexpected ways. For Abraham and Sarah, they're at a pivotal point in their journey. Remember last week we talked about how they were in their 70s when they were called to leave their hometown and make the journey to the land that God is going to show them. Well, now they're how old? So they're not 75 anymore. How old are they now? Remember from the reading? 99 years old. And they don't have children yet. And they're starting to get a little concerned. But God comes to them each and says, now is the turning point. And God actually changes their names. We learned in Sunday school today that Abram becomes Abraham. Abram, the name means ancestor. But God changes his name to mean ancestor of multitude. That's what Abraham means. And Sarai means princess. But now her name is being changed to Sarah, which means queen or ruler. So when God encounters them, something changes about them. Their identity changes. This is a pivotal point. And God tells Abraham that he is going to have this son. And this message comes in the form of these three strangers who come to his tent. Now remember, Abraham is a stranger already in a strange land. He doesn't know anybody. He's not necessarily welcome in the neighborhood. And here come these three strangers who he would be suspicious of, the way Wendy would be thinking, oh my gosh, these guys might be coming to kill me. But hospitality rules in those days dictated that if people came to your tent, you had to provide them with food and wash their feet and give them a place to rest and to stay. Hospitality is a major part of the Middle Eastern tradition. So Abraham goes and he gets them the bread and gives them a place to rest under the oaks of Mamre. And as he's entertaining these angels unaware, they share with him this news that you and your wife are going to have a child. Now, Abraham already has had a child with his concubine, Hagar, and the child's name is Ishmael, which we're going to talk about next week. So he's thinking, well, this is as good as it's going to get. But these angels say to him, no, you are going to have your own child. And Abraham can't believe it. He is so dumbstruck, he just falls down, double over in laughter. You mean me, 100-year-old man, I'm going to have a kid? You must be out of your mind. He can't believe it. He's cracking up over this. And Sarah, too, she's in the tent, like Wendy in the car, and Sarah's there thinking, oh my gosh, what are these strangers going to do to my husband? But she hears, yeah, your wife Sarah's going to have a child, and she's doubled over laughing in the tent. And the angels promise, when we come back in 9 months, you are going to have a child, and you're going to name the child Isaac. Do you know what Isaac means? Our Sunday school kids know. What does Isaac mean? Laughter. So Isaac is the son of laughter. And we actually have one of, anybody here who has a name Isaac? Where's Dalton?
That's his middle name.
Dalton's middle name is Isaac. And he brings lots of laughter wherever he goes.
He does.
So it's very appropriate that he would have that name. So Isaac is going to be born to them. And it's a really wonderful moment because Sarah's in the tent. And then, like I said, she's laughing. And the angels are saying, you shouldn't be laughing. This is God telling you this. And Sarah's kind of scared. She's like, I didn't laugh. I wasn't laughing. And the angels look at it and say, oh, yes, you did laugh. And then the child is born 9 months later. Now, in our story of Zechariah, the exact opposite happens. When Zechariah hears this news that he's going to have a child with his wife Elizabeth, he doesn't believe it at all. He's completely suspicious. He's not laughing. He's just completely dismissing, like, what do you think, that I'm a man my age going to have it? You must be out of your mind. So he's got an attitude. He's not just dumbstruck. He's got an attitude problem. So the angel says to him, and Gabriel means messenger of God. Gabriel says, because you don't believe, you're not going to be laughing. You aren't going to be able to talk at all. So we have the story of people laughing in one and their voices lifted up in joy, and the other one where Zechariah has to be taught a lesson, and he's not able to speak for 9 months. Not until John is born is he able to use his voice and to proclaim to God. So what does it mean to be able to welcome people who are different than you and who may have a message of joy from God? Our family likes a movie that's down in our church library called In America. Anybody see that movie, In America? It's down in our church library. If you ever want to watch it, it's great. It's only rated PG-13. And it's the story of an Irish family, 2 parents and 2 little girls named Ariel and, what's the other one, Rachel? It's Ariel and Christy, yes. Christy and Ariel. They come to America, it's like in the 1980s. They come to New York, and they're trying to make a new life for themselves. And they are mourning the loss of one of their children, their son Frankie, who had died. And they come to New York City, and they are, just like Abraham and Sarah, they are strangers in a strange land. They have no money. They have to move into an old apartment building in a very rundown place in New York City. And in this apartment building are all kinds of seedy characters. But these 2 little girls are so beautiful and so pure and so precious. And there's a wonderful scene where they go knocking on doors at Halloween. They're all dressed up. And one of the men in one of the apartments, he's a big, dark-skinned man from Nigeria. He's glistening and he's angry and he's got big muscles. And they're banging on the door trying to do trick-or-treat, and he's yelling at them to go away, go away. And finally, he opens the door, and there they're standing, and they're looking at this big, dark-skinned man. Trick-or-treat. And his heart melts. And they form this friendship. And they learn that the man is very sick, and he has lived in isolation. He's angry at the world. He's angry at God. But these little girls are like angels in disguise. And they form a friendship with Matteo, that's his name. And the 2 families, both from different countries, now in America, are able to help each other to find grace and love and friendship. And there's a wonderful scene where Matteo, who is getting sicker by the week, they take him outside during a winter storm, and they have a wonderful moment where they're all smiling, and they're throwing snowballs, and they're swinging on the swing. And not much later, Matteo dies. But he leaves them with a wonderful gift of life in the midst of it all. And he becomes an angel for them. I won't ruin the ending for you in case you want to watch it for yourself. But it's a wonderful example of what it means to make a connection with somebody who is different than you, trusting that